And welcome to Mr. Rocks, top 20 WWF male wrestlers of all time, with your host, Mr. Rock. Before we start, a big shout out to Rufus the Red, Minky Minx, King the Rounds, Rob himself, Miss Kiwi Gaming, and Sinistar, and the rest. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to those channels, please do so. Muchly appreciated. With that being said, we are going to get into the video in just a few seconds. I'm just going to wait until this is all set up. Because I want to make sure that I can reach chat. So I'm just literally going on my own live personal device. Okay. With that being said, we're going to get into the video. With number 20 being Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, of course, was born in New York. It literally came here at the age of about 2-3 years old to Winnipeg. Lived in St. James area. Hell of a talent, Chris Jericho was in WWF, winning both, being the first undisputed champion, beating The Rock and Stone Cold in one night at Vengeance 2001. But yeah, Chris Jericho's number 20. Number 19 is Edge. I loved Edge when he was part of the Brood with Gangrel and Christian back in, what was it, 1998, 99? I think it was late 98, 99. But yeah, the Brood, holy crap, that was definitely awesome to see. When Gangrel drank blood there and spit it out, and you had like the fire around the ring, it was literally something to see. But yeah, Edge is number 19. Number 18 is Yokozuna. I love Yokozuna. I don't care who didn't and who does. But Yokozuna, in my opinion, excellent wrestler for his size. The guy weighed about, 530 pounds? But this guy could literally freaking kill you, in the middle of the wrestling ring. But he was so careful of his size, And he died in the year 2000, I believe, and that was it. But growing up, I remember Yokozuna, Mr. Fuji. Hello, Mockingjay. Hope all is well. Yes, you are first. But yeah, Yokozuna is number 18. Number 17 is Big Boss Man. I love the Big Boss Man, Ray Taylor in WCW. Well, Ray Taylor was his real name, I believe. But yeah, I love the Big Boss Man. Even when he literally became a heel, I loved the Big Boss Man. When he was feuding with Al Snow, make him eat his dog Pepper. A lot of people forget about that, but yeah, he made him try to eat his own dog. But honestly, it was dog food. Just to give you a heads up. It wasn't a real dog. But yeah, it was really freaking funny. Hey, AJ Banks. Hope all is well. But yeah, Big Boss Man is number 17. Number 16 is Ultimate Warrior. Holy crap, I have stories to tell you about Ultimate Warrior. Like, when I was a kid, Ultimate Warrior, I had the wrestling freaking outfit of the Ultimate Warrior. I had a track outfit that had Ultimate Warrior. I had a t-shirt that had Ultimate Warrior. I had the Ultimate Warrior plush. I was a big Ultimate Warrior fan when I was a kid. There was no one bigger than the Ultimate Warrior when I growing up until, The Undertaker came around, but that's for a different story. Undertaker is on this list, but I'm not going to say where he is. But yeah, Ultimate Warrior is number 16. Number 15 is Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, with the perfect plex. I remember seeing those ads, those WWF ads that they used to run with him literally playing basketball, football, and everything. Those were amazing, Like he threw his own freaking football and he caught the damn thing. Like everything he did in those ads, it was perfect, and which literally meant the whole entire thing of being Mr. Perfect. Uh, of course, his dad was literally Axe Henning, um, so he was a second generation superstar. But yeah, Mr. Perfect is number 15. Number 14. A lot of people would think that this wrestler would be higher on this list, but he's not. Triple H. Triple H, in my opinion, was good as a heel, but there was times where I just didn't care for Triple H. You know, when Triple H first debuted, that whole John Paul Levesque era, was kind of literally like, ugh. you know, of course that's his real name. But at the end of the day, I just didn't care for that character when it first came into wrestling. Um, but yeah, but of course in the 1999 when he literally broke out in '99, and he was a heel, he actually broke into his own character there, which I actually did like. But there was a time that he was literally partnering with the McMahons, and that's what I didn't like. I wish Triple H would have just been on his own the whole entire time instead of being with the McMahons, but I get it. Heel, McMahons, everyone knows that. And that's why he literally falls down on this list. Because you gotta remember, this list is from literally like 1990 to 2002. This is not WWE. This is literally F. So if you're hoping to literally see Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, and all that stuff, no, they're not even on this list because they weren't around in the WWF era. So, yeah, Triple H is number 14. Number 13, Steve Blackman. I love Steve Blackman. The Lethal Weapon Steve Blackman back in the day, with his career, with his nunchucks and kicking people down. Honestly, I think the guy's literally a bounty hunter right now. Hey, Sam Brown, hope all is well. But yeah, I think he's a bounty hunter, with that I heard. And honestly, frick, I'll be scared to run into Steve Blackman back in the olden days in a dark alley, knowing what he knew, you know. But yeah, Steve Blackman's number 13. Number 12 is controversial. I like Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is on the list. I like Vince McMahon as the character. I do not recommend what he actually did do, though. But Vince McMahon as a character with Stone Cold Steve Austin was gold. I don't care who the hell you are. If you grew up in the 90s, Vince McMahon and Austin literally put on a goddamn show, and the whole entire character of Vince was awesome. The you're fired stuff, being the heel. Frick, I wanted to be like Vince, to be honest. I wanted to be like Vince because of how good he was. I loved his heel work, you know, back in like the 90s and everything, you know. But yeah, but we all know what Vince did, you know. I'm not going to condone any of Vince McMahon's actions that he did in real life, you know. But yeah, Vince McMahon is number 12. Number 11, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Styling, profiling, and everything else. I loved Ric Flair in a way back in the day. You know, the man was a 16-time world champion. You know, and you know, yes, he was more into WCW, but he jumped around from WWF to WCW to literally everywhere. You know, and he was in the last period. You know, like I think he came into WWF in like what December of '01 or November of '01, all the way until like the whole entire like 2002 era where they're transitioning to WWE. I think he was there for that because he was feuding with Vince. But yeah, Ric Flair is number 11. Number 10, I couldn't literally decide on which character I wanted of him because he was just amazing. Mick Foley. Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love. I loved all three of them. So I couldn't decide, so I just went with his real name, Mick Foley. You know, like when he was with Dude Love, he won the tag team champions with Stone Cold Steve Austin, I think in '97. You know, And that whole entire character would just made me laugh my ass off because he was supposed to be like the hippie, Cactus Jack. There was no one ruthless than Cactus Jack. He changed Triple H's career in No Way Out uh, 2000 and also Royal Rumble 2000. If you haven't seen any of those two matches, go watch those matches with him and Triple H. Those were amazing matches. And then Mankind, we all know the story about Mankind. His feud with The Undertaker, just amazing. The ballroom brawl, the freaking Hell in a Cell match that came around '98. And just even the Buried Alive match. You know, it was just amazing. His feud with The Undertaker pretty much skyrocketed Mick Foley to stardom. And he was already a star even before he joined WWF, but he wasn't a star in WWF. He was already a star with outside of it. He had his matches with Terry Funk before that. But yeah, number 10 is Mick Foley. Number 9 is Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret the Hitman Hart, Canadian wrestler. Love Bret the Hitman Hart. The sharpshooter, everything. What is not to love a Bret the Hitman Hart? At first I didn't really like Bret the Hitman Hart when I was a kid. But after the WrestleMania 13 Survivor Series 1996 matches, holy crap, do I have respect for Bret the Hitman Hart. Because you gotta remember, when Bret joined, he was literally, like, when I was watching Bret, he was feuding with his brother Owen. Incredible matches and everything else. Yeah, he was on Mad TV. Yeah, I remember that. Yep. That was in the later stages when he was in WCW. He was on Mad TV. But yeah. Bret the Hitman Hart, when he feuded with his brother Owen, I loved that. But I was cheering for his brother Owen at the time. But when I started really cheering for Bret was when he was feuding with Austin in a way, because those two had so much good chemistry, So yeah, number 8. How can I not talk about Bret the Hitman Hart and not talk about Owen Hart? Number 8's Owen Hart. I loved Owen Hart. Just like every other Canadian did. The Hart family is probably the number 1 freaking family in all Canada that literally changed the wrestling landscape. And if you do not say that you didn't care for the Harts, there's something wrong with you if you're a Canadian. But yeah, I loved Owen Hart. I loved the match, like his matches with when he teamed with Jeff Jarrett there, and he won the tag team titles. Um, I loved when he was with High Energy with Coco Beware. So yeah, that takes you all the way back to like the early '90s. um, like like Owen Hart, Bret Hart, the whole entire Hart Foundation was just great. It changed wrestling forever, you know. And yeah. Um, so number 7 is Big Daddy Cool Diesel. Now, Diesel, in my opinion, Kevin Nash, I loved you in WCW. I loved you in WWE, but I really hated you in 1995. You sucked the company down with your matches with freaking King Mabel and all those guys. It was literally horrible. That's why you're not on higher on this list. But I still love Kevin Nash to this day. Don't get me wrong. But I just didn't care for his 1995 run. But when he first came into the wrestling world in '94, he was good. When he wrestled The Undertaker at WrestleMania 12, it was a good match. You know, but yeah, I didn't care for his run in '95. Um, I was even there at Diesel's freaking match, In Your House 4. Um, and I got to see that shitty freaking pay per view. You know, when he wrestled the British Bulldog right here in Winnipeg, and there was no contest because Bret the Hitman Hart jumped the freaking thing, and got the British Bulldog disqualified, I believe. But yeah, it was a bad match. But yeah, number 6 is Kane. I love Kane. When Kane first debuted in WWF, holy crap. When he literally broke that Hell in a Cell door open, tombstone The Undertaker, got Shawn Michaels the win, I literally thought, whoa, there's a new monster on the frickin' rise. And it's Kane, you know? And yeah, like, the whole entire storyline between Kane and The Undertaker in '98 changed changed pretty much my whole entire wrestling perspective. I never before that there was no one. And I repeat, no one that was tougher than the Undertaker. You know, think back, there was no one that really put Undertaker on the map like King did. You know, and of course, yeah, over years, King got weaker, and then he got stronger, then he got weaker, then he got stronger, then he got weaker. Like his relationship with X Pac made him weak. Uh, I didn't care for that. It made him freaking weak. He wasn't the monster anymore, you know. But when Kane literally came into like 2003, you know, and you started torturing Shane McMahon and everything, that's when you got the monster back, you know, when he took off the mask and he was literally just pure crazy, you know. And I loved the Monster King. I didn't like the face King, but the heel monster, everything else, that's what I loved. Number 5, Macho Man Randy Savage. If you Macho Man is not on your list of freaking top even 10 wrestlers of all time, there's a big problem with you, man. Because Macho Man Randy Savage did a lot for the wrestling business. You know, he had that Slim Jim commercial that everyone freaking knew about. Big shout out to Slim Jim. I always loved you, man. you know, but every time I see a Slim Jim commercial, I always have to think back to the '90s, seeing Macho Man literally taking a bite of a Slim Jim. You know, but I'm just talking about commercials. But the man was an incredible wrestler. You know, even his bad matches were good. You know, like he had a bad match with Crush at WrestleMania 10. You know, that whatever that match was. I can't even remember what it was. It was like false count anywhere, time freaking limit something, you know, and you had to get back into the ring, and it just didn't make a lot of sense. But it was Macho Man's last match in WWF. A lot of people didn't know that, but WrestleMania 10 was Macho Man's last match in WWF. um, but yeah, I still miss Macho Man to this day. You know, uh, so yeah. Number 4 is The Rock. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. What's not to love about The Rock? He was the number one trash talker of all time on the mic. He could kick your ass without even freaking touching you. You know, it was awesome. You know, he could call you a Rudy Poo candy ass all you want, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, he could tell you to shine your damn shoes, shove them up your ass. What are you gonna do? And not only that, but he backed it up. Dwayne The Rock Johnson backed the shit up. You know, winning match after match. And even people would say, well, did you like the Die Rocky Die stuff? Yeah, it was gold. It was solid gold back in the day. When there was literally stuff that literally fans literally said, Die Rocky Die, Die Rocky Die. I loved it because it was hilarious. You know? Yes, Mockingjay, the people's eyebrow. Yes. But yeah, I love The Rock. Still do. You know, uh, do I feel Rock should be president of the United States? With his trash talking, he probably could run the whole entire damn freaking Canada, United States, and the whole entire world. Who's gonna dispute him? you know. But yeah, Rock is number 4 on my list. Number 3 is Razor Ramon. Scott Hall. Holy crap! That was a guy that technically changed the whole entire wrestling landscape. His match against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 10 blew my freaking mind as a kid. Like, when I seen that for the first time, that ladder match, whoa. Because it was something that you never seen before. Think back. You didn't see a ladder match at WrestleMania. You know? not until WrestleMania 10. And when that match literally happened, it changed the whole entire like wrestling landscape. And it literally gave people like the Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, all these guys that literally had tables, ladders, and chair matches a new hope. Because ladder matches were first introduced then. Yes, there was a few ladder matches here and there, you know, before WrestleMania 10. Don't get me wrong, there was a few. But there was nothing that changed the landscape like WrestleMania 10 then with Razor Ramon. Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, great match. His match with Bret Hart at Royal Rumble 93, great match. I think that was his first match in WWF, was his match with Bret Hitman Hart 93. I think, anyways. Don't get me wrong on that, but I think that was his first match in WWF. But yeah, um, but yeah, I love Razor Ramon. The gold chains, like, and a lot of people don't know that technically that was supposed to be based on Scarface. That whole entire character was supposed to be based on Scarface. Razor Ramon was supposed to be based on Scarface. He pitched the idea to Vince. Vince didn't know what Scarface was. So he literally got the solid gold chains and everything else. He shoot the commercials and literally tried to pitch it like he was Tony Montana. That's why he always talked like a Cuban accent. But yeah, he was supposed to be Tony Montana. But yeah, I love Razor Ramon. Number 2 is Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I think you know who number 1 is now. But yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin, beer drinking, finger gesturing, hell raising son of a bitch in the wrestling world. I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. And there was no bigger wrestler, no bigger draw than Stone Cold in the 90s. It didn't matter who the hell you were. Stone Cold was always coming up with new creative ways how to create more money. By driving a Zamboni for the freaking thing, driving a beer truck, freaking just raising as much hell as you can. And technically the Austin McMahon stuff, pure gold. Like I said, it was pure gold in the 90s. Those two couldn't do nothing wrong. Number 1, of course, is The Undertaker. Undertaker's been wrestling for 30 plus freaking years. I think he retired not too long ago. But growing up, Undertaker was the man. When I freaking first seen him like wrestle, I was literally like drawn to him. Like this guy was unstoppable. Like, think about it for a second. He beat Hulk Hogan for the title at Survivor Series back in '91. With the chair, of course, from Ric Flair sliding it in and tombstoning him on the chair. But after the day, it was amazing. There was no freaking powerhouse back then because Hulk Hogan was literally the top guy. Don't get me wrong, Hulk Hogan was the top guy in the '80s. Then the '90s came around, and then Undertaker came around. And like, let's be honest, you had Ultimate Warrior that beat Hulk Hogan, and then you had Undertaker that beat Hulk Hogan. And then it was just like, whoa, Hulk Hogan could be defeated. But yeah, and like his WrestleMania streak, undeniably one of the greatest streaks to ever reach wrestling history. He won, what was it, 21-1 before losing? I don't think anyone's going to be able to do that unless you're going to reach WrestleMania 60. So, yeah. But yeah, that's my list of top 20 male wrestlers. Next week will be the top 10 WWF lady wrestlers. And then the next week after that will be the top 20 WWF, WCW factions/tag teams. Because I couldn't literally decide on tag team and factions. So we got that to look forward to. Yes. Thank you, Mockingjay, for coming out. Thank you, AJ Banks. Thank you, Sam Brown. Yes, Lesnar and Reigns did beat him. I'm not denying it that he didn't lose. But it took him literally like a long time for him to lose at WrestleMania, you know. But yeah. But like I said, like I didn't put Lesnar, Reigns, Randy Orton because those are WWE guys, and I wanted to make it legit WWF because that's what I grew up with, you know. So yeah. But like I said, thank you guys for coming out. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later, everyone.